AI job replacement was supposed to explode in 2025. Millions of workers replaced. Entire teams gone. Humans pushed out by AI. But instead, Elon Musk has suggested he's now a communist. And last time I checked, it's no longer 2025. And most companies still look exactly the same. The same meetings, the same broken processes, the same people pretending they understand those processes. So what actually changed? Did AI really start replacing jobs? Or did we all just fall for the biggest AI sales pitch big tech ever made? Mark Zuckerberg claimed that by 2025, Meta would have an AI capable of functioning as a mid-level engineer, churning out production-ready code.
And obviously, if Mark says it, it must be true. I mean, the man's a visionary. Just look at the metaverse, that digital space we're all hanging out in every single day, with our avatars. Definitely not wondering where the last $36 billion went.
Mark is not the only tech giant that has made big predictions. In May 24, my favorite person, Elon, said, in a benign scenario, probably none of us will have a job. There will be universal income, and not universal basic income, universal high income.
Sounds pretty good, right? But let's think about this logically for a second. If everyone is suddenly going to receive a high universal income, where exactly is that money coming from? We can't just print more money forever. That tends to end, well, pretty badly. So someone, somewhere, must be ending up with less.
Wait. Is that money coming from the AI tech billionaires? Are we quietly drifting into socialism? And most importantly, is this exactly what Elon wants? Is Elon turning into a socialist?
This sounds like another classic Elon self-driving cars are coming next year promise, right? You know, the one where they're coming in 2015. Or was that 2016? No, it's 2017. No, I'm really confused now. Maybe it's 2036.
It will happen because Elon says it will.
But if history is any indicator, the only person with high universal income in 10 years will, well, probably still be Elon.
All these predictions are being echoed by big influencers like Tom Bellew, who said AI will destroy jobs in 2025, and humans only have 2 years left.
Well, which is why I decided to become a YouTuber, because it's AI safe. But then I saw the Diary of a CEO who interviewed an AI safety expert that said there'll only be 5 jobs left in 2030, as he claims AI will take 99% of jobs. Unfortunately, none of those jobs left were a YouTuber.
Oh, crap. Honestly, I think these claims are more a sign that you need to say extreme things to get attention online. And that I agree with.
So on that note, we just read there is an 89% chance that in 2033, 92% of humans will form an open romantic relationship with ChatGPT. That's right, you heard it here first.
The job market isn't great. It really appears AI is taking our jobs. And I imagine, if you're an auditor, you're secretly happy about that.
Salesforce previously claimed their own AI-powered customer service software resolved 85% of their customer service requests. So, who needs people? But since then, they have pulled back after facing repeated reliability issues. Their senior execs now admit that confidence in AI has fallen big time over the past year, even as the company's laid off around 4,000 support staff after the rollout of AI agents.
Who would have guessed that would happen? I guess their execs never spend 1.5 hours discussing their rash with ChatGPT to get told it's likely to be a serious illness, only to later find out that it was just laundry detergent. According to Business Insider, 1.1 million people was laid off in the US last year, more than any year since the pandemic. But only 55,000 of those layoffs were due to AI. That is only 5%. And that is madness.
So you've got to ask the question, what was the actual reason for layoffs in 2025? Well, 95% of layoffs were due to cost-cutting, restructuring, and economic factors.
So why did the media say AI would replace you by now?
Well, it's because it creates urgency, clicks, and investment. But the truth is, most jobs aren't being replaced by AI. Companies are still struggling to make it work.
The reality is, cost-cutting and restructuring accounted for most of the layoffs. After the pandemic, many were optimistic, and they ended up overhiring in 21 to 23.
I remember when I worked in corporate in 20 to 21, there were big fluctuations in forecasting, bigger than I've ever seen before. In certain areas, we'd over-delivered so much that we were left scratching our heads and asking ourselves how we're going to defend this when the pandemic was over. You know, no business wants to admit that most of the over-delivery was due to special circumstances. People actually don't need that much toilet paper. So I can see why some forecasts were overly optimistic.
Anyway, the second biggest reason for the layoffs in 25 was because of economic uncertainties, because demand slowed down. Yeah, I think anyone with a house mortgage can relate to that. My interest rate went up from 1.4% to 6%, which you definitely notice if you have borrowed hundreds of thousands of pounds. And for people renting, the price of renting apartments went up shockingly high.
I think the reality is that it has become trendy to say you're now using AI. We're now in a situation where you sound almost incompetent if you say you don't use it. But have you ever wondered why the companies pitching AI efficiency gains, you know, the ones that say they'll cut your operating costs by 30%, never seem to be that efficient themselves? I mean, their price is still the same as every other agency. So maybe, just maybe, AI isn't quite where it needs to be.
The media said AI would replace you by now because it makes for great headlines. But in reality, it's big tech selling a future that is far more profitable for them than it is for everyone else. An MIT study found that 95% of enterprise AI initiatives fail to produce measurable returns on investment, with only 5% generating meaningful business value.
Which, quite frankly, is not a surprise. Take, for example, Brenda from HR, the type of person who's convinced Microsoft Teams statuses are a personality type and drinks from a mug with the words Process Ninja. Driven by her primary love language of optimization, Brenda has designed a brilliant performance review process. It's a yearly ritual involving 12 frameworks, 360-degree feedback, and a self-reflection portal with a mandatory personal evaluation about your professional hopes and dreams.
All to be completed in PowerPoint, obviously. This, of course, is all to confirm that Janet from operations is in fact still quite good at operations. What on earth is the point, Brenda? Could you imagine doing such things in any other areas of your life? Imagine if you roll this process out at home with your husband. Hi, Tim. Let's reflect on how well you demonstrated core household values, particularly in dishwasher management and emotional availability last year.
And that's the point. Companies are built on complexity, human complexity. I mean, when a company spent a decade struggling to implement an ERP system, I don't think AI can fix it in a week. So, please Elon, tell me how we're going to do that. I don't think laying off half the staff is going to speed up that madness.